Hi, and welcome to Noble Character Crafts. My name is Amy, and I'm coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Friday, January 3rd, 2025. Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you really enjoy this episode. This is a channel all about my crafty life, and today I have knitting and crocheting to share with you, as well as a few extra things, because I want to wrap up the Make 9 2024 Mal and kick off the Make 9 2025 Mal. So I'm going to be giving away final prizes for the Make 9 2024 Mal. I'm going to be giving some stats about my makes for the year of 2024. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to be going over my personal Make 9 board for 2025 and all of the yarn and patterns that I have planned so far. So I hope that you enjoy this episode, and we'll get right into it. To start off with, I just want to mention what I'm wearing today. I am wearing a cowl that is designed by Emily Clausen of Salt City Knits, or the Yarn Brary. This is called the Dixie Creek Cowl, and I test knit this for her last year in March. And I knit it out of yarn by Lamb's Pride worsted in the Persian Peacock colorway. And I actually made 2 versions of this cowl, and this was the first one that I made. The second one I made in multiple colors, and I love that one as well, but that is what I'm wearing today. So I will go ahead and announce the final prizes for the Make 9 2024 Mal. All of the prizes that I am giving away today, again, were donated by generous viewers of this channel by various, I kind of have a wide collection of yarns from different viewers that have sent me yarn. And I grabbed the 6 different quantities of yarn that are rather large quantities. So there are at least 4 hanks or skeins of yarn. And then the largest prize has 7 skeins of yarn to give away. So they're rather large quantities, and I thought that'd be fun as the final prizes for the Make 9 2024 Mal to give away a bit bigger prizes. So the first prize is 4 skeins of Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in the, let's see, the base is American Targhee Columbia wool, and the colorway is called Plume. It's worsted weight 140 yards per hank, and there are 4 of them, and the color is just gorgeous. So the winner of these yarns is Abby at AbbyTheLib_. Congratulations to you, Abby. For you and all the winners, please get in contact with me through direct message on Instagram and let me know your mailing details, and I will get this prize off in the mail to you as soon as possible. So that's very exciting. The next prize is 5 skeins of, I guess I don't need to grab all 5 of them, but there are 5 of them stacked up here on my dresser next to me. Okay, 5 skeins of Rowan Ribbon Twist. This is 70% wool, 25% acrylic, 5% polyamide. They are 100-gram skeins, or do you call these skeins? I think so. And let's see, the yardage is 66 yards per 100 grams. So quite a bulky weight of yarn. And oh, the color is, I think it's just a number, which is 115, I think. I think that's right, as far as I can see from the label. Rowan Ribbon Twist. The winner of these 5 skeins is Kelly at KC_knits. Congratulations to you, Kelly. The next prize is the same yarn, but in a different colorway. And again, 5 skeins of this as well. So again, Rowan Ribbon Twist, same exact yarn, but the shade is 125. And the winner of these is at Rocky Fibers on Instagram. Congratulations to you. The next prize is 5 hanks in such a beautiful purpley color. 5 hanks of yarn by Cloudborn Fibers. This is 100% Pima cotton DK weight. So it's 231 yards per 100 grams. And there, again, are 5 of them. Oh, the color is lavender. The winner of these is Abby at Bear Hug Knits on Instagram. Congratulations to you. And then we have some more Cloudborn Fibers yarn in 2 different colorways, but I wanted to keep these together because they're all on the same base. So there are 4 hanks in this teal color and 2 in a natural or cream colored yarn. All of these are superwash merino fingering base, which is just 100% superwash merino wool. It is a single ply, and this colorway is called Caribbean. And again, there's 4 of those. And then this one is called Antique White, and there are 384 yards to 100 grams. For these. Again, they're fingering weight. So the winner of this lovely prize is Jessica at the Lamb's Den. Congratulations to you. And the final prize is getting 7 skeins of this Plymouth Encore worsted weight yarn. It is 75% acrylic, 25% wool. The colorway, I think, is just a number 2084. And I think that's all for that one. The winner of these skeins is Denise at knitter_big D. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to everybody who has participated and joined in the fun for the Make 9 2024 Mal. I truly appreciate you joining in. And I am really enjoying already seeing those of you who have started to participate in the Make 9 2025 Mal. So if you are not familiar with the Make 9 Mals that I've been hosting over the years, you are encouraged to make a board with 9 projects that you would like to work on this year and post a grid of those projects to Instagram, including the hashtag Make 9 2025 Mal. And then that will enter you in the prize drawing to win a prize, which I will continue to draw periodically throughout the year. You can also include that hashtag anytime you post a picture of one of your works in progress from your board or one of your finished objects from one of your boards. You're not required to finish anything though. It's just a participatory make along. You can make more than one board if you want to. Sometimes people make several boards and maybe they have one that's full of whips, one that's full of gifts, one that's full of things they want to make for themselves, whatever you want to do. Or maybe they'll do one of hats and one grid with all socks on it. So whatever you want to do, it's great. And I encourage you to do as many boards or just maybe one board if you want, whatever you like. Whips are allowed. You can include all your whips if you want to. If you have 9 or more whips, you can include those. Any craft is allowed. So if you have lots of different things that you work on, whether it be crochet, knitting, sewing, quilting, cross stitch, whatever craft you enjoy, you can include multiple different crafts on your boards. If you need assistance making one of your boards, you can certainly contact me through direct message on Instagram. That is the best way to get in contact with me. I do have an email that I link down below, but I am really, really terrible at checking that. So it's not a very reliable source for you to get a hold of me through my email. I check it once in a while, but I'm terrible at it. I'm just really terrible at checking my email. So I apologize for that if that is a more convenient way for you to communicate. But the best way to communicate with me is through direct message on Instagram. And if you need assistance making a board, you can let me just know the 9 patterns that you would like to have on your board. And if you just let me know the name of the pattern that you want to work on and the designer, then I can probably, hopefully, find a picture of that pattern and make a board for you and then just send it to you through direct message on Instagram. I've done that several times for many other people, and it's really not, doesn't take me too much time to do that because I've done it a lot. And I'm happy to do that if that is a difficult thing for you to be able to create. If you're not sure how to make your own board, I'm glad to help you out with that. So just let me know. Let's see, is there anything else that I need to talk about regarding the Make 9 Mal? I do want to mention that I'm not the one that came up with the Make 9 idea. I always forget who that was, but it's Home Row, maybe? I might have that wrong. I'll try to look it up and put it down here below. But this is the person that first came up with the Make 9 challenge idea. So that's not my doing. I just host the Make 9 Mal. I think that covers it. Pretty sure that covers everything. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know what your questions are, and I'll be happy to answer those if you have any questions. But I'm super excited to be hosting the Make 9 2025 Mal this year, and I hope that many of you will join in. All right, I have my stats for the year of 2024 as far as everything that I made. I went through my notebook and calculated everything that I have worked up this year, and I thought I would share that with you. I made a total of 109 items, and 46 of those were crocheted items. 62 of those were knit items, and one of them included both knit and crochet. That was my Ariana cardigan. It had mainly crochet for the squares, but then all of the ribbing was done using knitting. So I made a total of 4 blankets or throws, and then I made 5 baby blankets. I made 3 adult cardigans and 1 baby cardigan. I made 22 pairs of socks, 21 hats, 9 scrunchies. I made 7 cowls or shawls, 3 summer tops, 18 dishcloths, and 4 ornaments. And then I also had 12 extra things. For example, a bookmark, an ear warmer, mittens, a hair bow, pillow, a doll, things like that. So I just have a few extra things that have their own, didn't fit into any of the other categories that I listed. So I am happy with that. It's super fun to be able to go through and see the amount of things that I was able to make in a year. Not that it really matters at all, but it's just kind of fun to look back and see how much I was able to make in the last year. So that's fun. All right, I have a few finished objects to share with you all today, and I will get right into it. The first thing is my Colorwork Cuff Club socks for the month of December. This is a design by Summer Lee Knits, and she came out with 2 Colorwork charts for the month of December. One of them included trees, and the other one included houses. I obviously went with the trees, and I made it even more simple than what she had in her pattern. In her pattern, the basic tree pattern had one little yellow stitch at the very top to show as like a star, but I eliminated that. She also included the option to include snow flecked in, but since I used Tweedy yarn, I eliminated that. And she also included stripes after the colorwork section throughout the body of her socks, but I just knit mine in a plain color. But I love how they turned out. I just wanted something simple, I guess, for the month of December. I cast on 60 stitches using US 0.2mm needles. I did 2x1 ribbing for 12 rounds. When I got to the colorwork, I increased my stitches to 72 stitches. I increased my needle size to a 3mm set of needles. I used 9-inch circulars for that colorwork section and knit those one at a time just for the colorwork section. The rest of the sock was knit on magic loop 2 at a time. After I finished the colorwork, I reduced my stitches back down to 60 stitches and went back down to the US 0.2mm needles. And then I just knit plain stockinette for the entirety of the leg. I did a total of 70 rounds for the leg, including the color work. Then a simple slip stitch heel flap. You can barely see it really in this yarn. And at the ball of the foot, I included the slip stitch detail that I always do on my own socks to reinforce that part of my sock. It's very similar to the stitches that I do on a heel flap. You just slip one, knit one on the sole of the foot for 1 round and then knit 1 round. And I repeat those 2 rounds for a total of 30 rounds before I do my toe decreases. The yarn that I used is Knit Picks Stroll Tweed in the Barn Door Heather colorway for the main part, and then the trees are done in the same yarn in the Dill Heather colorway. That is 65% fine superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, and 10% Donegal tweed. I started these on December 3rd and I finished them on Christmas Day. So that was fun. And Summerly, I've been doing the Colorwork Cuff Club for each month since it started back in August. She came out with her new one for January. It's a pretty simple design as well, but I haven't started those yet, and I'm still trying to figure out what I want to use for those, or maybe even if I want to make that one. I don't know. I haven't been inspired yet on what yarn I want to use for that Colorwork chart. It's a very cute chart. It's just basically a scalloped design up at the top in Colorwork. I'm sure I will do it, but I haven't started them yet, and I'm not sure what I want to use for those. So anyway, I think that's all for these. And I've also finished a lot of hats. Well, I guess it's not that many. I finished 4 hats. The first one I was working on my last episode. It is another classic ribbed hat, which is a design by Jake Canton of Purl Soho. So it's on the Purl Soho website, free. And I knit this using 2 fingering weight yarns held together to make a DK weight. I started this on December 16th and finished it on December 23rd. I used US 2.75 millimeter needles. I had misspoken last time. I had said that I was making the adult medium size, but I actually made the adult small size. I increased the length of it to 9 inches before I did the crown decreases, which is a modification from the pattern. So you're supposed to knit for less length according to the pattern before you do the crown decreases, but I like it to be extra. I like it to have some extra length. I used 2 yarns held together, like I said, and one of the yarns was basically brown, and one of the yarns was basically pink to purple colors. I showed them on my last episode so you could kind of get a better idea of what colors I was holding together, but the brown one was self-striping. Well, they both were kind of self-striping. Yeah, both of the yarns that I used were self-striping, but I used a variety of yarns. That's kind of hard to explain, but anyway, I love how it turned out. I think it's so cute. I love the color. I think it's very pretty, and I really love how it turned out. The crown decreases are done in a really pretty swirly pattern, and they're really simple to do. It's just a 1x1, so knit 1, purl 1 texture for the entirety of the hat. And this is the second time I've made this design. The first time I did it, I didn't really enjoy the process of making it, but I absolutely loved making this one. And I think the major difference was that I changed my needles from short circulars to using 4-inch tips instead of using probably 2-inch tips. And that made a huge difference for it to be more comfortable as I knit it. It looks really small since it's ribbed, but I don't have a huge head. I think my head measures 22 inches in circumference, maybe. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it's 21. I don't know. I don't have a huge head, but it's not the smallest of heads either, I guess. Anyway, it stretches and there's plenty of room if you did have a bigger head. My husband has a very large head, so I don't know that it would fit him, but of course he wouldn't want this coloring of hat anyway. But anyway, it really has such a great fit. I love how this ribbed hat fits. It's so nice. It feels great to wear it. I will probably keep it in my knits that I have made to give as gifts, and I'll give it down the road to someone at some point. I don't know. But I really love how it turned out, and I have another one on the go, so I will share that with you when I get onto my works in progress. I also made some hats using some bulkier yarn. Last Christmas, one of my friends named Michelle, a different Michelle than what I've spoken about before, so anyway, my friend Michelle that I go to church with gave me some yarn that I knit some socks out of that I shared a couple of episodes ago. This is a different friend named Michelle as well. And she is not a knitter, and she has gifted me yarn for Christmas a few years in a row, which I think is super sweet because she's not a knitter and she doesn't really know a lot about knitting. She just knows that I like to knit and crochet, and so she's gifted me some yarn. Last year she gifted me 2 skeins, well actually 3 skeins, and I'll share the third one later on in the episode because it's in my Make 9 2025 plans. But anyway, she gifted me 2 skeins of yarn in Lion Brand Hometown. The teal color is called Montpelier, and the, I don't really know, the grayish pink marley color is called Salem Creek. Those are both super bulky weight yarns, 100% acrylic. And this hat is called the Premier Hat. It is a free pattern by Robin Parent. I started this on December 20th and finished it the next day on December 21st, so it's super quick to work up. It was knit on US 11 8mm needles for the ribbing, and then US 13 9mm for the rest of the hat. I had gone down in my needle size for that because I'm usually a loose knitter, but it actually turned out pretty small. Maybe you can tell that it is small. It does fit my head, but again, my head isn't that large, but it's not very comfortable on my head. It's okay. Well, it's not uncomfortable, I guess, but it seems a bit tight. So I wanted to make this as a gift for Michelle. I don't know. I can't decide if this would be a good one to give to her. I made a second one that I might give to her instead, but I'm not 100% sure. I think I'll be saving this one to give to someone else. It's really nice. I mean, I love it. I just thought it was going to turn out a little bit bigger. It's really not too tight though. I was thinking it was tighter, but now that I put it on again, it's not bad. Anyway, it turned out pretty cute. The color work is fun. It has 1x1 ribbing for, I don't know, not many rows, like 8 maybe rows. And then you go right into the color work, which was super fun and simple and lovely. I don't remember what kind of crown decreases it used, but that's what it looks like. Anyway, that was a super fast and fun project to whip up. It used a total of 118 grams, so 87 grams of the main color and 38 grams of the contrast color. Since that one turned out smaller than what I had expected, I cast on another one using the same stitch count as the Premier Hat, but I went up to the recommended needles, which were US, well, I think the original pattern calls for you to use US 13 9mm for the ribbing, and then to go up to US 15 10mm for the majority of the hat. But I did not. I only used the US 13 9mm for the entirety of the hat. So I again cast on the same number of stitches using the Salem Creek colorway, 1x1 ribbing for, I think, 8 rounds. And then I did helical knitting, striping the two colors together, which made these fun stripes. And I used up all of the Salem Creek color, and once I ran out, then I just finished up the crown using the Montpelier colorway. So, and I used up, I don't think I had anything left, barely, maybe just a tiny little bit of the Montpelier. So that used up the remainder of the yarn that I had. I started and finished this hat on December 21st, so again, it worked up super quickly. Oh, I wrote on here, it's 7 rounds of 1x1 ribbing. I did the helical knit stripes until the hat measured 8 3/4 inches, and then split the stitches into 6 sections and did the decreases as it was in the other one. I think. No, this I did differently. The decreases on this I did differently. So I split it up into 6 stitches, or 6 sections, and then I did the decreases like the Purl Soho classic ribbed hat pattern calls for. So that's how I got this more swirly pattern on the top. I forgot about that. So anyway, this one, as I said, turned out a little bit larger. So it's nice and roomy. but still it would work. But I mean, there's a lot of extra room in there, but it would work great for somebody that has a larger head, or just for, you know, if you don't want your hair to get smashed down, it works pretty good. I'm not sure if I could cuff it. Maybe I could. Yeah, I guess you could. Oh yeah, that works too. Then it's more of a tighter fit around the crown area. That works too. So that's fun. I think this is the one I'm going to gift to Michelle, but I'm still not 100% sure on that. And then just yesterday, I finished up this hat. This one I made using some bulky weight yarn that I've had in my stash for a long time. And this is another free pattern called the 53 row hat by Madelyn Santa. And I used some Premier Bloom chunky yarn in the Orchid colorway, which is another 100% acrylic yarn, and it's self-striping. It is also, all of these hats are knit from the brim up to the crown. I started this on January 1st and finished it yesterday on January 2nd. It used US 9 5.5 millimeter needles for the ribbing, and then US 10 6 millimeter needles for the majority of the hat. I started it, and whenever this yarn is self-striping, whenever I came to a color change, I knit all of those stitches. But then I realized that the ribbing was going to be flipped up. So then I would have the wrong side would be showing. When you flip it up, the wrong side would be showing. So here's the wrong side of my ribbing, and you can see all the purl bumps whenever a color changes. So when I got done with the ribbing, then I did a short row stitch to turn my work so that I could start working on so that my ribbing would now be switched, so that the wrong side would be on the outside of my hat, so that when you flip up the brim, the pretty side shows. That's probably confusing. I feel like the way that I just said that doesn't make sense, but hopefully it does. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, that worked out well so that you can cuff it, and then the neater ribbing side shows. So it's about 21 rows of ribbing, and then about 21 rows of, yeah, I think it is 21 rows of the actual body of the hat before you do the crown decreases, which are done in a little bit different way, but they're kind of cool looking as well. And it's meant to be worn cuffed, but it's pretty shallow. It does fit, but I just feel like I don't know. Again, I'm not super happy with the fit of this one. It's okay. It fits well. It's good. But I feel like maybe it would be better if it had a little bit more height to it. I did try wearing it with it not cuffed, and I actually don't think that the purl bumps look too bad if you do wear it like this. I think it kind of works like that too. So there's a couple of options with this one too. I have quite a bit more of this particular yarn. Oh, I have another skein of it right here. I don't remember how many skeins of this I have, but I have a few more. So I could make more hats similar to this and then just gift them, donate them maybe. And I will probably be doing that, but I'm not sure if I'll follow this exact same pattern or if I'll kind of modify it. Maybe I'll try to do the 1x1 ribbing like on the classic ribbed hat, but with this stitch count instead. That might work too. We'll see. And then I also have a few other skeins of bulky weight yarn that are in my stash that would be nice to use up. They're all acrylic, so it'd be nice just to make those as donation hats probably. So I may do that soon as well. I also have made several more scrunchies. On my last episode, I showed that I had made a pattern for my daughter for Christmas, and it's called the 20-minute scrunchie. It is by Haute, Kippy, by Bethany, Sypolt, and I really have enjoyed that pattern so much. It is so super fast and makes a really nice scrunchie. One of the scrunchies that I've made since I showed last time, my daughter is using today, so I won't show that, but it's in a green yarn that she had in an old scrunchie that kind of fell apart. The band broke, and so I ripped that out and recrocheted it up into a new scrunchie for her. That I made on December 26th, and that was made using worsted weight yarn. And then I also made these 4. The first 2 I made using some bulkier yarn, bulky weight yarn, and I believe that this is Lion brand Homespun yarn. I don't remember the colorway though, it did not have a band on it. But it is 100% acrylic. I made all of these on December 31st. I used an L 8mm hook for these, and you start with crocheting half double crochet stitches around the hair tie, and I made 30 half double crochet stitches to start off with for these. And I've been using this purple one, so it's already twisted up and it's been worn. But I love it. I love it so much. It's great. I love purple, and it just works really, really well as a hair tie. Anyway, these are both in the same colorway, but the color changes as you work through the skein. So anyway, I started with 30 half double crochet stitches, and then for the second row, you do 4 double crochet stitches into each stitch all the way around, and that's it. So it's only a 2 round pattern. It's free. It's super fun and fast to make these. So I was only planning on making one as a gift again for Michelle, but because we're getting together with her tomorrow for Christmas, but then I had just enough left over to make another one, so I made myself one too. So I'm super happy about that. And then I also made Michelle these 2. This one was also made using some bulky weight yarn that was gifted to me. I don't remember who, I'm sorry about that. But I don't know what the name of the yarn is either. It didn't have a label on it, but I'm confident that it is acrylic, and it has some tweedy bits in it. And this is also bulky weight, I'm pretty sure. Again, it doesn't have a label, so I'm kind of guessing, but I did 28 half double crochets on this one. And then this is the same yarn that I made the first 3 that I showed on my last episode for my daughter. This, I believe, it doesn't have a label either, but I believe this is Red Heart Super Saver yarn. So this is worsted weight. And so I went down to an H 5mm hook for this one, and I start with 36 half double crochet stitches for worsted weight. So I'm going to be giving, oh, I lost that. I'm going to be giving these 3 scrunchies to Michelle tomorrow. So that, I believe, is all of my finished objects for this episode. So I'm going to go on to my works in progress. The one that has gotten the most attention, and I'm so excited about it, is my Scrappy flower motif blanket. I'm so excited because the end is in sight, and it has really motivated me to work on it even more than normal. So since I recorded last, I have added 8 motifs to it. So that is so exciting, and I'm on my last row. I'm so excited about it. Okay, I will show you what I have added since last time. For this, I am using a tutorial that I have here on my YouTube channel that I will link in the description box below, showing you how I make these hexis. And in the tutorial, I switch my yarn color 3 times throughout the hexi, but on these, I just make solid hexis, so that's a difference. But I use a C 2.75mm hook, and I'm using all fingering weight yarn. Right now, I have already made all of the flower motifs that look like this, and I am using the bare yarn to join them. This is Knit Picks Muse yarn in the bare color, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base. Okay, since I recorded last, I have added this blue one, This is number 2 I've added. 3, I think, yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this half motif is starting the, you can kind of see that this is the top edge of the blanket. So along the top section and the bottom section, there are 2 half motifs. So I've just added in this little half motif. Let me show you the beginning so you can kind of get an idea of what I mean. There are 2 half motifs at the beginning where I started joining. So the other side is going to be mirroring that. So it's really coming along very well. I'm so excited about it. I'm going to stand up so you can see it in its entirety so far. So this end is where I started. And maybe you can see that I have not finished the border on the right side here, but I will. That'll be the last thing that I do. But I have done the border all along the bottom or the beginning side here and along this left side as I'm holding it, my left, you were right, I guess. And now I am working on the other side and working the border as I go along. And so I have another full motif to go here, a half motif to go underneath this one, and then another full motif in that corner. And then I will continue with the border along this edge. And I'll finish up here where I started. So I'm really excited about how that's coming along. I'm pretty hopeful that I'll have it done by the next time I record, maybe. So that's super exciting. I've been working on this pretty consistently since May, but it's January now, so I'm excited to see the finish line as far as this project goes. But I'm really honestly still enjoying working on it. Seeing the finish line really helps me to stay motivated. That's been fun. So I'm very, very excited about this still. I love how it's looking. I lay it out all the time and just admire it because I think it's so beautiful. I just love it so much. I was able to use a ton of scraps in this blanket, so that's really gratifying. And yeah, I'm still enjoying it so much. Okay, I have 2 more works in progress that I have to share with you. The first is another classic ribbed hat, again by Jake Canton of Purl, Soho. And for this one, I gathered a bunch of mainly blue, a little bit of violet or purple colored yarn scraps. And I'm holding 2 fingering weight yarns together again for this one. And again, I'm making the adult small. For this one, I am using US 3.25 millimeter needles. I started this on December 23rd. And I am loving this as well so much. Let's see, I'm using this yarn. I had 2 little cakes of this yarn, and quite a bit of it left over from some socks that I made for my mother-in-law. It is paint box yarn socks in the Stripes Dreams colorway. So I've used that throughout a lot of this hat, basically from the beginning to here, and then I took a bit of a break and then I started it up again. You can see that up here. And then the other yarns I'm using are just little scraps of bluish purple colored yarn. So lots of, mainly blue, but a little bit of purple in there as well. And I'm really loving how that's working up. It's coming along really well. I'm enjoying working these hats up using scraps so much. It takes, did I write down how much it takes? Now I kind of forget. I think it's around 100 grams of yarn. I thought I had written it down, but maybe I didn't. I'll put it on I'll weigh my pink one that I just showed you and I'll put it on the screen so that you have an idea of how much it takes. You can gather up some scraps of fingering weight yarn to equal this amount pretty easily, or at least I can. Most people can, I suppose, if you are knitting a lot. And yeah, it's just really fun to be able to kind of marl colors together and use up scraps and see how it turns out. I think it's super fun. And then my other work in progress, I wanted another pair of socks that were really mindless to have on the go. So I cast on another pair of socks using some yarn that I was gifted a long time ago by a viewer of this channel named Joy. She had sent me a lot of yarn a long time ago and said I could keep whatever I wanted. And so I had kept a few different yarns from her, and this was one of them, and I've just been hoarding it for many years, and finally I've cast it on. It is Nomadic Yarns in the Rita Skeeter colorway, which I think is a Harry Potter reference, but I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so I don't really know, but I think that's what it is. I don't know how I know that, but I feel like that's what it is. It is on a yak sock base, which is 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, and 10% nylon. I don't think that I have ever knit with yak yarn before. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I can't recall. But I'm loving these so much. I cast on 60 stitches using US 0 2mm needles and did 2x1 ribbing through one color stripe repeat, which I believe was 17 rounds, and then just went into plain stockinette. I thought this colorway was kind of Christmassy. You know, the colors are kind of Christmassy, but it's not overtly Christmassy. So I thought it was perfect for this time of the year because I started them on December 23rd. So I was still wanting to do something with some Christmassy yarn, but knew it would carry over into January. So I didn't want it to be crazy in your face Christmassy. So I thought this was a fun choice. So I usually knit my legs for about 70 rounds before I do my heel flap. For the heel flap, I can't decide which color I should use. I could either go with just plain black. Maybe you guys can help me decide what color I should use for my heel flap, because I want to do a contrast color for my heels. So I could either just go with plain black, which of course would work. I think I'm going to be ending my leg with a black stripe so that when I'm doing my gusset decreases where I have more stitches and sometimes the stripes will get a little bit more narrow, since this color stripe repeat has this color green is a wider stripe, I want my gusset decreases to be in that section. So I'm going to end my leg with a black stripe. So then I could use the black color for the heels, and this I think is just a Knit Pick Stroll color. Yeah, Knit Pick Stroll in black. Or this was one of the minis that my cousin sent me, and it's kind of a tan variegated color, and I thought it looked cool with the tan in the stripes, but also has a bit of green in it, so it kind of picks up the other colors in there too, maybe. So I thought that would be a fun choice. This is by Less Traveled Yarn, and the colorway is C2C to 2023, number 15. And it's also a 75-25 base. It's so pretty. So what are your thoughts? Should I go with the tan or the black for the heels? Let me know what you think looks best. Those are all of the works in progress that I have to share with you now. I'm going to go over my Make 9 2025 plans, and I do have 2 works in progress that are part of that. The first one on my Make 9 list is a pattern that I have from a book by Knit Picks. It's in this book called Wood Smoke Cable Collection. I've had this book in my stash for a long time. I've made a couple, well, maybe only one other pattern from this. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think maybe I only made one other pattern from this collection, but it's really fun. And the pattern that I am making, that I already started because I just couldn't wait, is the Inishman vest by Mary C. Gildersleeve. And here is the picture of that. So it has lots of beautiful cables in it. And it is a vest that is knit from the bottom up, which is not my preference, but I think it'll be fine. Here's a few more pictures of this vest. She has an option to include buttonholes, which I am adding. And yeah, I think it's so beautiful. Look at that cable down the back. It's so gorgeous. The gauge for this is pretty tight. It's recommended to use worsted weight yarn, but the gauge is 24 stitches and 32 rows. And it recommends you use Wool of the Andes tweed yarn. Well, I've used Knit Picks Wool of the Andes for many different garments. And I recently made a cardigan using Wool of the Andes sport weight, and my gauge was looser than 24 stitches using sport weight yarn. So I did not swatch with worsted weight yarn because I saw that and I measured the gauge that I had just gotten on that cardigan that I had made, and it's not a loose gauge with the sport weight yarn. It's a comfortable gauge to knit and it looks nice. It's not too tight, or it's not too loose, I mean. Anyway, so I had planned to use worsted weight yarn, Wool of the Andes worsted weight yarn for this vest. But then when I started thinking about the gauge, I knew it probably wasn't going to work out for me because I'm a loose knitter anyway, and I just didn't think I'd be able to get gauge with that big of yarn. So instead, I also had in my stash from Knit Picks also some yarn that I'm not sure if it's still available or not. It's a discontinued yarn. I don't know if they still have some of it available or not, but it is called Upcycle Alpaca Blend, and it's in a sport weight. And the colorway is called Squirrel, and it's such a pretty colorway. I love the different variations of color throughout this yarn. It's so beautiful. The makeup of this yarn is 33% alpaca, 34% wool, and 33% acrylic. And it's really a nice yarn. I'm enjoying it so much. I am making the size 3, and I am using US 5 3.75 millimeter needles. I did not do a gauge swatch because I'm just kind of making an estimated, hopefully intelligent guess of what will work for me as far as my gauge. So with that, like I mentioned, with that sport weight cardigan that I recently finished, I made that using US 6 4 millimeter needles. And like I said, the gauge was looser than 24 stitches. I think it was 22 stitches. So I went down on my needle size to a US 5 3.75 millimeter set of needles for this project. And hopefully it will be good enough. I haven't made a lot of progress yet. I think I've only done 8 rows, but I have made some progress. And I didn't check my gauge on this, and I think it's close. But I haven't blocked it or anything, so it's kind of a guess, and hopefully it'll turn out. But it's, it's kind of a looser fitting vest. Hopefully it'll be fine. My gauge is looser probably than the 24 stitches still. So if it turns out a little bit bigger than what is recommended, that's not a huge deal. But anyway, you can see that there is a lot of texture going on. And I've already started doing, oh, I'm showing you the wrong side, sorry. Here we go. There's already some cables starting. Here you can see some. And then the back panel cable work is here. So it's quite a, a pattern that I need to concentrate as I work on it, but I'm enjoying it. And I like having a project like that really takes quite a bit of focus. So little tiny project so far, but I'm excited to have it in the works. So that's my first project from my Make 9 board. The second one is a blanket that I started quite a while ago. I need to look up when I started this because I can't remember. It's a project that I started and then have put on hold for a while. Let's see, I started it back in July. And I am making a motif from this book, which is Crochet Kaleidoscope by Sandra Ng. And it is number 77, the motif that I'm using from this book, which looks like this here. I am using a G 4mm hook. I am using Knit Picks Brava Sport Weight yarn in several colors: Tranquil, Lady Slipper, Cornflower, and Seashell. And then I'm also using some Dara Moore's Studio Anti-Pilling DK weight yarn in Powder, Rose, Blush, and Olive and Lime. All of those yarns are 100% acrylic. The Knit Picks Brava Sport Weight is, I think, mislabeled. It is the same yardage as the DK weight yarn from Dara Moore's. And I have other Knit Picks Brava Sport Weight yarn that has more yardage than this does. So this, I think, is mislabeled because it only has 273 yards for 100 grams. So I believe that that is actually a DK weight yarn, but it's just been mislabeled. This Brava yarn was gifted to me by my cousin Allie. And I have made several of the motifs already. Here are a couple that I've already stitched together. My plan is to sew all of the motifs together. I tried crocheting as I went and joining them as I went along, and I didn't like how that looked for this project. So for this one, I am going to go back and sew them together. But I've made several. I'm just switching out the colors. I am using the now I can't remember which one it is. It's this one, the powder, I believe. I am using the powder for, it's not a good idea to put projects on hold for too long because then I forget what I've done. I believe for the third round and the last round, I am using the powder color on all of these little motifs, but then switching out the other colors for the other rounds. I am making a modification on round 5, which I think is the last round. Oh, I'm pretty sure, yeah. And it calls for you to, I only stitch into the back loop on the 4th stitch. I don't remember what that means, but that's my note on there. That's bad when you, oh no, there are 6 rounds total. I'm making a modification on the 5th round. I don't really remember. I haven't gotten back to this project yet, but it is my plan to get back to this project. Oh, I meant to mention that I have another blanket project, work in progress, my Handsome Ripple blanket that I've shown on the last few episodes. And I've only put a couple of rows on that since I recorded last, so I'm not showing that today. But once I finish that blanket, then I think I will pick this project back up and finish it. And I still don't know if I want to make this a baby size blanket or more of a throw size. I'm leaning towards probably a baby blanket just because the colors are so fun and bright. It would be great for a baby blanket. But I'm not 100% sure on that yet. Okay, my other projects for my Make 9 board, I have not started yet, so they're just plans. So I'll be putting pictures up of those. The third project is the Pea Cardigan by Irene Lynn. And I do have the yarn for this project. It again is some of the Knit Picks Upcycle Alpaca blend, but this time in the worsted weight. And it's in this beautiful blue color, which is called Lapis. And this is the same makeup as the other one. So 33% alpaca, 34% wool, 33% acrylic. And I was inspired to make a cabled cardigan in a blue color like this. after seeing a version of Anne of Green Gables, and Anne is wearing a cabled blue cardigan. I'm pretty sure it's cabled. Well, she's wearing a blue cardigan. And I saw that several years ago, like probably 5 years ago. And I was motivated to make a blue cardigan for myself. And I haven't done it yet. So I'm planning to make it this year and I'm very excited about it. I just love that color so much. I think it's so beautiful. And I have a sweaters quantity. I bought this yarn specifically for this pattern with this project in mind. So I've had it in my stash for a while now though, but I'm excited to finally get to it. The fourth project is a Stansberry shawl, which is another pattern by Emily Clausen of Salt City Knits. And I test knit that pattern for her as well. And I loved it, but I ended up gifting that shawl to my cousin, Allie. And I want to make another one for myself using this gorgeous sock set that I won from a gift from, I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was like a summer sock camp. I know that I got it from Kay La Litton of the Crazy Sock Lady. And it originally is from Stitchin' with Yarn. And it's so gorgeous. I just love this sock set so much, but it's too gorgeous to be made into socks in my opinion. So I want to make it into a shawl. It is the Magic Potion sock set. It's on a twist sock, which is 80% superwash merino wool, 20% nylon. And the Stansberry shawl is designed to be made using a sock set. So you use a 100 gram full skein and then you use one mini skein. I haven't decided yet which one of those minis I will use for the border. Is that right? No, I can't remember where that is. I think it's used on the border. Anyway, I'm pretty sure. I haven't decided which mini I'll use with the main skein yet for that shawl, but I'm super excited about that project. My fifth project plan is a crocheted baby blanket using the other yarn that I mentioned that I got from my friend Michelle last Christmas. It is Lion Brand Mandala Ombre in the Tranquil colorway. And I'm planning on using that along with this pink color. I have a couple of skeins of pink yarn. These are both 100% acrylic worsted weight yarns. I believe this is Red Heart Super Saver, probably. And I have made this pattern before. It is called the Shells of One Color Blanket. And it is a free, well, I used the YouTube tutorial, so I'll link to that. It is by Jonna Martinez. And this picture that I'm including here is the blanket that I made myself several years ago, but I really remember loving this pattern and putting it, you know, kind of in the back of my mind as a pattern that I wanted to go back to again. And I think that these colors will be very pretty. I am not sure, I have 2 full skeins of pink and only 1 of this, so I'm not sure if that's going to be quite enough for a baby blanket. But I think I can still get a hold of this color if I want to add more of this in, or maybe just go get some more pink if I need it to add that in as well. So I am excited about that pattern as well. The next 2 patterns that I have plans to make were gifted to me by the designer. The first is the Around Town Tee. And these are both crocheted patterns, and the designer is made by Asia. And the second is the Summer Wave Skirt. Both of these patterns are made using fingering weight yarn. I don't have the yarn yet for these projects. I can't decide what colors I want to make the shirt and skirt in, but I'm very excited about them. And I'm not sure which yarn I will use. She, I think, recommends a drops yarn that I maybe would like to try. Or I've also used Knit Picks Comfy Fingering, which is a cotton acrylic blend that I really enjoy working with. So I might go with that option as well. I haven't decided yet. The 8th project on my list is the Comfort Fade Cardi. And I was gifted by a viewer of this channel named Rachel a Comfort Fade Cardi kit. This is a design by Andrea Mowry, and I already have the pattern and the yarn. This was such a generous donation gift to me, and I'm so incredibly grateful. So isn't this yarn gorgeous? I just love it so much. It is by Goosey Fibers, and it is a kit that was specifically put together to make the Comfort Fade Cardi. So I'm excited about that. I forgot to mention with the pea cardigan that I want to make in that blue yarn, it's more of an oversized look, but I'm probably not going to make it quite so oversized. But on this project, I do kind of want to make the Comfort Fade Cardi a bit more oversized for me. From the looks of the pattern, it looks like Rachel had said that this was a kit for the large size, but actually the large and extra large size both call for the same number of skeins of yarn. So I potentially could make the extra large size. I forget what size my measurements would actually recommend using or making, but I kind of want this to be more of an oversized look. The Comfort Fade Cardi has pretty tight fitting sleeves, and my arms are bigger for my frame anyway, so I don't want my sleeves to be super duper tight. So that would be one reason why I'd want to go up in size, just to get more room in the sleeve area. And I do just want this to be a comfortable, cozy cardigan to have. But I'm so excited about that. Those colors are just so gorgeous. I love them so much. This is DK weight, by the way, and I believe it's 100% merino. No, it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon blend. But so gorgeous. I'm very excited about that. And the last project on my Make 9 board is the ginger cardigan. I don't yet have this pattern, but it is by, I'm not going to say this right, I'm sorry, but I'll try my best. Mele Petronile, maybe. And the designer's name is Celine Messina. And I want to make that cardigan using this yarn that I shared with you on a previous episode that my cousin Allie gifted to me. Oh, it is so stunning. I am so excited to have this in a cardigan. It is Mad Tosh yarn, 100% superwash merino wool, and I don't know the colorway number or colorway name for this yarn, but it's absolutely stunning, and I'm super excited to try this yarn in the ginger cardigan. I think it's beautiful. The texture throughout the cardigan is really simple but really pretty, and I like the fit of this cardigan a lot. So those are all of my plans for my Make 9 board, and I think that covers everything that I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you enjoyed seeing the things that I've been working on, that I have plans to make, and I hope that you're enjoying the projects that you're working on as well. And I hope that your new year is starting off wonderfully. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.